Am I the asshole for not going on a cruise where my SIL invited two other couples we do not know? My SIL and I were planning to go on a cruise together with our hubans. Her husband is my brother. We are all in our 40s. She booked their cruise and I hadn't booked ours yet as I was busy. She thought I had already booked ours. As we are texting about the cruise, she texts me that she invited two other couples to go, and they have booked too. We don't know any of these people at all. It isn't the first time she has invited people we don't know to functions, like dinner out. I thought we're just going to be the four of us. Many times when other people are invited, my husband and I are cast aside and tend to feel like fifth wheels. We pay for our own dinner, and always been good sports about it. My husband no longer wishes to go, and frankly neither do I. If we had planned on other couples going and invited some friends we know, that would be one thing. But we hadn't. Not one time in our plans was inviting others mentioned. Now we are thrown in with people they have known for years that we don't know at all. So we decided we don't want to go on an expensive cruise, not to mention the time off work, with strangers. I told her we've decided not to go, but to have fun with their friends. It was a bit hurtful, but we are trying to be good sports about it and not cause a fuss. She doesn't understand why we don't want to go and is now upset with us. She doesn't think it's any big deal to invite others. My husband and I would never dream of imposing strangers, even for dinner, without first discussing it with the folks we made original plans with. Now I think, am I the asshole for canceling going on a cruise? I suppose, am I the asshole for controlling who she invites? AITA for seeming petty. If you invite others, my husband and I aren't going. Not the asshole. Your SIL is selfish and rude. If she wanted to invite others, she should have asked both of you before inviting other people, as the four of you had already made a plan. Stand by your decision to withdraw. Explain next time the four of you make plans, if there are any changes. You want changes discussed in advance so you and husband get to choose whether or not you are okay with it. That's what respectful adults do. She doesn't understand why we don't want to go and is now upset with us. She doesn't think it's any big deal to invite others. I think you need to stop being such good sports and spell out exactly how this makes you feel. Give examples from previous occasions. If she still doesn't get it, or dismisses it, she has the social awareness of an amoeba, and you should take that into consideration in the future. Not the asshole. While you're not an I don't really understand the problem. You're going to be on a cruise with hundreds, if not thousands of strangers. Why does it matter if your sister invited four more strangers? Part of going on a cruise is the fun of meeting new people. But if you and your husband are kind of introverted, which it seems you are, perhaps a cruise is not the best way to spend your vacation time and money. Not the asshole. She unilaterally changed it from a family vacation to a their friend's vacation. She shouldn't be shocked that you guys no longer want to go. This isn't at all what you agreed to or wanted. I'd not let her blame shift at all. Not the asshole. If her inviting couples who you don't know to plan double dates is a common event, you should have a private, clear the air conversation with your brother so that he speaks up when she's pulling similar stunts. Or, moving forward, you may need to make it clear when you're going on a double date, that's all it's supposed to be. What you're doing now, i.e., saying nothing and trying to be good sports, just builds up resentments. Luckily, you learned about the additional travelers before spending a lot of time and money, only to be the odd ones who are once again left out. Just a miscommunication. It sounds like you never really expressed to your brother and SIL that adding people to functions bothers you, and they may have thought this was a great opportunity for to become friends with their friends. On the other hand, you are free to have your preference and decline a vacation that changed without warning. You and your husband would discuss it first, your brother and SIL wouldn't. Nobody's wrong, and I think a talk about your different approaches would help. I know what it's like to feel like a fifth wheel, and I get it about not wanting to be confined on a trip with people you don't know. But how can you make new friends if you don't want to hang with new people? Am I the asshole for refusing to shove my butt in a stranger's face? I'm currently on a cross-country flight, sitting in the window seat. Shortly after takeoff, the woman in the middle seat got up to use the restroom. I figured this was a good time to also get up. That way the lady on the aisle wouldn't have to get up twice. I stood up, as much as you can at the window seat, and asked if I could be let out. She said I could climb over. She also has this very large carry-on bag that is too big to fit under the seat, so she's got it sitting between her feet, meaning the climbing would be an even bigger climb. I was pretty dumbfounded that she didn't make any move to get up. Instead of pushing it, I just sat down. About an hour or so later, I really needed to go to the bathroom, so I told the woman in the middle seat that I needed to get up. I guess these two are mother/daughter because she said, "Mom, we need to let her out." Middle seat climbs over the lady in the aisle. The lady on the aisle then looked at me and said, "You can climb over." I firmly stated that I am not climbing over her. I asked her to please stand up and let me out. Yes, I said please. She said no. I again said please stand up so I can get out. Her daughter says, "Mom, I think you need to stand up." She continued to refuse. She dug in, clutching her things, and glared at me. Her daughter repeatedly asked her to get up. At this point I'm pretty pissed off, and I really have to pee. And I'm more loudly saying, "You need to stand up. Ma'am, please just stand up." Finally I very loudly said, not shouting, just loudly talking, "It is basic airplane etiquette to stand and let someone out. I will not be forced to put my butt in your face because you don't feel like getting up." I pushed the flight attendant call button. Once the flight attendant arrived, aisle seat took her sweet time gathering all her nesting materials, including a blanket, snacks, wine, an ancient DVD player with an absurd number of cords attached, and dramatically moved her carry-on into the aisle. She finally stood up. So tell me, should I have just sucked it up and straddled this complete stranger so that she could be more comfortable? Edit to add, just to be clear, she's not elderly. Maybe 60. And I'm 51. If she were elderly or feeble, I would not have gotten upset. I would have shoved my butt in her face, got my feet caught in her stuff, stumbled, farted, and head off to pee. The return trip would be epic, because I would be planning to stumble into her lap. Not the asshole. You asked politely. Multiple times. Then you tried a repetition of the etiquette for the hard of hearing and slow of courtesy. Only then did you call the attendant. Me? After her refusal, I'd have climbed over her, but I'd be awfully clumsy since I've had inner ear problems for absolute yonks. She'd probably be stepped on, have my butt in her face, and most of my weight on her armrest momentarily, so I could balance and stand. Such stubbornness deserves a response, in my opinion. I'd eat every snack that might produce farts. Yes, I can be that immature. Not the asshole, but if she refused to get up and insist I climb over her things, I would have climbed over and kicked all her crap into the aisle on my way out. But pressing the button to let the flight attendant handle it was both appropriate and the more mature thing to do. I would have farted in her face personally. I would have pushed the flight attendant harder to move all that crap under her feet. It's supposed to fit under the seat for safety if you do need to get to the aisle. I'm a prick. I would have palmed $20 or even $40 to make the rest of the flight miserable for the woman. Take all that stuff and cram it in the overhead bins 6 rows back, so half the plane has to get off before she can get her junk. Not the asshole. You said please stand up so I can get out, and she said no. End of story. Her comfort doesn't take precedence over your right to use the restroom. The climb over me is pure nonsense. Am I the asshole for not bringing my girlfriend anything while she was sick? My girlfriend has been sick for the past 3 days. When she first told me, I asked if she needed anything, to which she only replied, a stronger immune system. The next day I checked and asked if she's been eating/drinking, which she says yes, she's been eating/drinking and resting. Later in the day I checked in again asking if she needs anything, saying I have soup. She replied with she's okay for now. Today I asked how she's feeling and told her to get some rest, which she was receptive to, but later tells me she's going into work. After work she tells it's hard for her to ask for things whole sick, and small gesture like soup or tea would have meant a lot, and she felt lonely she didn't get that. I would have brought something, but she explicitly told me she was okay, and didn't say anything when I asked. I figured I would allow her space to rest since she said she had food, and I did not want to risk us both getting sick. Am I the asshole for not bringing anything? Not the asshole. She's giving mixed messages, which is frustrating. To decline help and then whine about it after the fact isn't fair to you. Not the asshole. She said she didn't want soup. Imagine if she said she didn't want soup and you brought it anyways. She'd be completely justified in being upset, and if you came on here asking if you were the asshole, it would have been unanimous. People would be saying, can't you take no for an answer? She's a woman, not an infant. You don't need to baby her. How much more clear could she have been? She said no. You respected that. Not the asshole. I hate it when people say they don't need anything and then get upset that you didn't bring anything. You checked in, you were very ready to bring anything she requested, and most importantly, you took her at word. Some people like visitors and attention and stuff when they're sick, some don't. If she wanted you to come over with tea or soup, she should have said so like a grown-up. Not the asshole. You asked if she needed anything. She said no. For her to then complain about you not getting her things is ridiculous, and just playing games. Not the asshole. You explicitly asked if she wanted some soup. She said no. You are not a mind reader. Your girlfriend should work on her communication skills. That said, now that you know asking her is useless, next time she is sick you can just bring her something without asking. But does she pretend that you read her mind instead of listening to her with other stuff too? That seems so annoying. Not the asshole. I used to expect people to meet my needs without me asking them and was upset and disappointed a lot. Then I realized I was the issue in not articulating what I want. You shouldn't have to guess. That's how boundaries get crossed and consent/requests ignored. Am I the asshole for lashing out at my sister for not prioritizing my medical emergency? I was hospitalized today after losing consciousness and fainting onto the floor twice today. When I asked my sister, my emergency contact, and she is aware of that, if she could bring me necessities that I need for my stay, she said, maybe Sunday or Monday, when it's Thursday. I lashed out because this is serious and I can't even rely on my immediate family members. I have never felt so alone after calling the ambulance alone, getting admitted alone, doing everything alone. P.S. My sister and I are on good terms. It's not like we have bad blood or anything. Edit. Since a lot of you are asking, the only reason she gave was, I wasn't sure about my schedule, and I completely understand that since she's still attending university, she must have a busy schedule, but it's not like she couldn't show up at any of the visit slots. There are 2 per day. Also, she's not living that far away, and doesn't have other responsibilities, as some of you suggested. Info. Is your sister chilling nearby, or is she working on an oil rig in Alaska? Info. This can't be answered until you tell us how far away your sister is from you, and what her excuse was. I'm also wondering what your necessities were, since most hospitals provide you with all the stuff you absolutely need. Info. How far away is she? Has she given you any reason why she can't bring it right now? Not the asshole. You clarified that it was only a few km away in another comment. In which case I can't understand her position. She needs to go to your home, collect some stuff, go to the hospital, drop it off, done. Or ask someone else to do so. Sure, it's a mild inconvenience, but not being able to do it for days seems bizarre. Nah. We don't know the sister's situation, and if she's able to just drop everything and rush to the hospital. I feel for OP, but I wonder if her sister really was the only person she could have called for help. Kinda you are the asshole. You seem to be mistaking the job of your emergency contact. That's the person that gets called by the hospital/EMS when you're incapacitated and unable to speak for yourself, so they can make the important medical decisions about your care. That's not the same as a go-to person for running your errands and bringing you stuff, which would be any person who has the time and ability to do that for you. You're awake and able to make your own phone calls, so call someone else.